Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody has had a great weekend. I hope that everybody has had the perfect amount of time to relax and recoup. I hope that you are on your way to continuing to create the best life for yourself in this present moment. Today, I would like to talk to you guys about everything being okay. Moving out of old toxic cycles. Moving away from anxiety of things. Understanding that while things might feel stagnant, you realize growth is present when things that used to cause a lot of anxiety no longer cause that stress for you. It's a really wild realization that I came to, or that I have been coming to in my own personal journey, where things used to be incredibly difficult to deal with, certain things. You know, the idea of certain people, the idea of a certain life, the stress tied to certain things and certain experiences. How they feel incredibly different now than they did prior. How stressful they used to feel then when they don't now. I posted a video on my TikTok because this is my attempt to be more active on social media, because I feel like I post more memes on my personal page than I do on any of my other pages, on my art page or my podcast page. So I'm working on trying to be more active on my socials. And let me tell you, that shit is a full-time fucking job. But I posted on my TikTok the other day about, it was like a stitch of a woman saying, like, nobody talks about how terrible healing can be, how bumpy the road is, and how shitty it can feel sometimes, and how you really just do want to fucking punch the fuck out of your healing self or your healed self and just be like, no, I would like to return to old habits. I would like to return to toxic cycles. And I think it's important to understand why we might feel like that sometimes. And this is just an opinion. This is just process of elimination and how I currently feel. Because, like I have to say, always, I am not a doctor. I am not a specialist. I am not a professional in the field of relationships or psychological issues. But I do know myself, or at least I'm getting to know myself. And what I have discovered is that healing, and when it comes to trying to go back to your old toxic cycles, it might be tied to the fact, or it feels like it's tied to the fact that it feels comfortable. It feels comfortable to go back towards toxic cycles. It doesn't matter how uncomfortable the toxic cycle was. It was something that is known to you, something that's familiar. It might be familiarly painful, but it's familiar. And familiarity, for some reason, will always be something that we are drawn to more than the unknown, right? Which is part of the reason why this is called the Unknown Podcast. We are afraid of what we don't know, what we are unfamiliar with. We are afraid of what may or may not happen, as opposed to being very familiar and acquainted with, let's just say, for example, somebody that oftentimes lets you down, right? Or someone that consistently hurts you. You know they're going to hurt you. It's very much a known pattern for some people at this point, right, in your life. And that's familiar for you. That's something that you can look at and just be like, okay, I knew that was going to happen, but, I got my fix. I got what I needed. I'm going to be hurt a little bit, and then I'm going to try at it again, right? Good game, coach. So, when it comes to our healing phase, which a lot of us are in currently or trying to get into, when it comes to our healing stages of life, right? Because a lot of us are very young. And some of us are getting a little bit older, and we're just barely starting on our healing journey, and that's okay, because there are no rules for this life. When we were born, there was no fucking rule book that was given to us on exactly how to live the best kind of life. And I've said this before, there is no rule book associated with how we can get towards the most satisfied portion of our lives. we have an outline, and that depends on, you know, what kind of religious background you have, or what kind of family upbringing you had, or the environment that you grew up in, right? We have our familial outlines and backgrounds. But there are no rule books that say if you take measures A, B, and C, you'll be happy, you'll be fulfilled, right? We have to create those ourselves. We create those parameters ourselves, and they are constantly changing, is what's interesting, right? Is that they are constantly changing. Our goals are consistently evolving. I can tell you currently that the goals, and I've said this before, probably not as articulately, but we've had different times, right? Like when I was younger, a goal of mine was to be a vet, right? I wanted to be a veterinarian. That evolved because I was just like, I cannot watch dogs die on a daily basis. I can't do that. Let me try for something else. Right? It evolved over time. It evolved over time into something different and something great for me, right? And who's to say that it won't change again, but that's life. What makes us happy and the outline that we feel is going to get us towards that stage of happiness is consistently evolving for a lot of us. Sometimes it stays the same. There's some people, I mean, I couldn't possibly imagine what it would be like to stick with the same exact goal, or to have not had any change in my goals, because I feel like my goals have consistently evolved over the years in my life as I've gone through my own healing journey and my own kind of issues. They've been on a consistent swivel, essentially. They've been changing a lot. It would be nice. I feel like we all covet what we don't currently have, so it's something to look at. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's perspective is different. Everybody has a different opinion, and everybody has a different goal for different reasons. And when it comes to approaching that healing journey, when it comes to approaching what your goals are, who you want to be, how you want to live, what you want to feel, that is going to have a dramatic effect on what actions you take. So when it comes to where your goals are and what you'd like to do and how you'd want to live your life, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of changing. There's going to be a lot of breakdowns and rebuilds. And it's going to be frustrating. You're going to get frustrated with yourself and some of the actions that you take and some of the things that you do. And sometimes it's going to feel like you have quite literally no control, because you don't. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is that you really don't have control over a lot of things in life, if anything at all. Just got to kind of go with the flow and live life and enjoy it as it comes, and decide who it is you want to be in this life, and let go of fear, because fear doesn't serve you. Just like it didn't serve us when we were kids and we were afraid of what was in the closet, right, or under the bed. That didn't serve us because there was nothing there. And a lot of the times there isn't anything there. I mean, I hope you don't have anything under your bed. That would be crazy. Call the police, run away, lock your door. But, real talk. Fear does not serve us. Fear does not bring us any closer to what it is we'd like to achieve. And when it comes to fear and our fears, I am not a stranger to those, it can be incredibly difficult to turn the cheek, to act like it isn't there, to not give in to whatever fears we might have. It can be incredibly difficult. I couldn't tell you how many times I've run away from a situation because I simply had too much goddamn fucking fear over the things that I felt were plaguing me, over the things that I felt were keeping me, right? And there's only so much that I could use to blame on that fear, right? Because it was fear that I was creating out of nothing. Well, I was building that fear over past situations instead of seeing things for what it was. So it's important, like I say, for everybody listening, to give yourself the chance to step back and let yourself heal. Let yourself be the person that you want to be. And fuck everything else. Fuck how everybody else might feel. Fuck whatever things in the past that might conflict with what you're feeling now might be. Because it's in the past and it doesn't matter anymore. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to change as a person. You are allowed to give yourself that growth, that room for growth. You are allowed that. And it isn't spoken enough a lot. That you are allowed to feel those things. You are allowed to have that growth. And I say it all the time, and I feel like it helps some people, but it doesn't help other people because they're just like, we need more than words in this life, Nadia. And I understand that. But when I say it's okay, especially when everything is fucking falling apart, right? Or it feels like everything is falling apart. And then somebody just tells you, it's going to be okay. And all you want to do is fucking smash a fist in their face because you're just like, how is anything going to be okay? Because we can't imagine the how, right? It always ends out being okay. And in the grand scheme of things, a lot of the things that we worry about don't really fucking matter anyways. The opinions of others, the opinions of society, the opinions of other useless things, or the rule books that our familial backgrounds might have created for us, that again might conflict with who it is we want to be today and now. Or what is currently deemed or not deemed acceptable. And I say that all the time. Fuck what I say. Fuck what everybody else says. How do you feel and what do you say? What do you want to be? How do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And go from there. You know, decide who it is you want to be today. Because if you wear that face and you decide that that's not who you want to be, you can always change. You can always put in the work to change. You can always be different and better. For you, not for anybody else, for you. I love you guys so much. And as always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in to listen. I know everything. I've been dragging fucking ass these last few episodes to bring them out to you. You know, I feel like everything has been in chaos. I don't know if it's the heat or the weird weather that we are experiencing in California, but everything kind of is low-key, high-key shit. So, but it's going to be okay because I'm ready for fall and pumpkin spice season and cuddles and blankets and candles forever for days. Because that's just who I am, you know? Anyways, I love you guys so much. I will speak to you guys again next Tuesday. Still trying to figure out my video situation. I know I had a nice video sesh in the beginning and then it got fucking ruined by my shitty iPhone. But we're going to rectify that soon. I promise. I promise. All right, guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye now.
You deserve better.